All right, good afternoon, almost evening, everybody. Hope you had a good day, a good weekend. So we're going to get started with our intermediate flow today. So again, just do your best. If this is maybe a little bit more challenging for you, or maybe a step up from what you normally do, again, you can always just take a moment, go into child's pose for a second, catch your breath, and then jump right back in and join us. Again, you can always modify too as needed. You don't feel like you have to look exactly like me in the postures. Kind of doing what works for you, what feels good for you, um, making sure nothing is sharp shooting pains or anything like that. You want to feel either a good stretch in the muscle or maybe that good burn in the muscle, like those muscles are working. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's start on our backs. Okay, so you can bring the bottoms of the feet together. Go ahead and bring those knees wide. You can rest one hand on the stomach, one hand's gonna rest on that chest. Just closing down the eyes, just taking a moment here just to soften, to relax, just to bring yourself to this space. Maybe it was a little bit of a crazy weekend or a crazy Monday. Just let all of that go. Just let yourself be here. Just feeling that rise and fall, the belly of the chest, big expansion through that rib cage. And exhaling all of that breath out, nice and slow. Now go ahead and bring those knees together. Hug those knees into the chest. And you can take a sec, just gently rock it from side to side. Now we're going to stack those knees right over those hips. Shins are going to be parallel to the ground. Teeing out those arms, we're just going to bring those knees over to the right side. So hovering them about a 45-degree angle. Inhale, bring it back to center. And exhale, we'll go over to the other side, dropping those knees over to left side again, but keep them lifted using that core. Inhale it back to center. Exhale it over to the left side. And inhale, bring it back to center. And we'll go exhale again over to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale it to the right. And inhale center. Exhale it to the left. Good, bring it back to center. You can just slide those hands down by your sides. Plant those feet, lifting those hips up. Really pressing into those heels, gripping those toes. Think about we're scooping that tailbone up towards the ceiling. So we want to take any arch out of that low back, keeping that core really engaged. You're trying to pull that rib cage down, nice and tight through those abs. Slowly roll those hips down. Let's do that 2 more times. Pressing into those feet, lifting those hips up. Exhale, roll it down. Last time, press, lifting those hips up. Keep breathing, abs tight. And slowly roll it back down. Go ahead and hug those knees into that chest. And now we're gonna round the spine, bringing that forehead to the knees. Now we're gonna extend those legs out, reaching those arms up overhead, keeping it all lifted. Now, if you need to lower either your head and arms down or your feet down, okay, you can. Okay, just a little modification here. Get breathing. And then exhale, curl it and round that spine. Inhale, reach it out. That hollow shape, that banana shape. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, extend it back out, warming up through that core. Exhale, curl it back in. Inhale, reach it out. Last time, curl it in. And reach it out. Hold it here, breathe. Squeeze those legs together. Pull that low back down towards the mat. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees in. Let's start to rock forward and back. Okay, we'll cross over those shins and step it right back into that downward facing dog. And so pressing into those palms, pressing those knuckles and the fingertips into the mat, clawing, really clawing those fingertips into the mat. So we're evenly distributing that weight all along the hands, pressing that belly back to those thighs, pressing that tailbone up towards the ceiling, bending those knees as much as you need to as we press those heels down towards the mat without changing anything else in the body. And now we'll inhale on the toes. Bend into those knees, look forward. Let's step those feet to the top of the mat. Inhaling that half lift. Exhale, fold. Letting the head and the arms stay nice and heavy for a couple breaths. And now inhale, we're gonna rise up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. And interlacing those fingers, we're gonna side bend over to the right. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale it to the left. Good, inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, release those hands to be full. Finding that flat back on the inhale, we'll bend into that right knee. Twisting, reaching that left arm up. Good, exhale it down as we fold. To the other side, flattening out that back, we'll bend into that left knee. Right arm will reach up. Good, exhale it down as we fold. Just letting it hang for a breath. Good, now plant those hands. Let's step those feet back to our plank. You're not gonna be able to see my feet, but you want your feet a little bit wider, dropping those heels, just the heels, over to that right side. Inhale it back to center, and exhale those heels over to that left side, keeping those hands grounded down. Good, inhale, bring it back to center. Shift that weight forward as we lower it down. Inhale, pressing into those palms as we lift the chest up. Hold those shoulders down. Really long through the spine, all the way up through the neck. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Inhaling the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise to standing. Interlace those fingers. Side bend to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale it back up. And exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale. Bend into that right knee. Left arm reaches up. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale, re-lengthen out, twisting over to that right side. Exhale, the arms down as we fold. Finding that flat back on that inhale. And exhale, we'll plant those hands down, step those feet back to our plank. Feet about hip distance apart. Heels only dropped to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, back to center. And exhaling those hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. And now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, separate half those feet, top of the mat. Inhaling that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise. Good, side stretch to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale, twisting, reaching that left arm up. Exhale it down as we fold. To the other side, flatten out that back, twisting, reaching that other arm up. Exhale it down as we fold. Sliding that flat back. Exhale, plant those hands, stepping those feet back to our plank. Drop the heels to the right. Inhale, center, to the left. Inhale, center, shift the weight forward, lower down. Inhale, lift it up into that up dog or cobra. And exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Inhale on the toes. Then into those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Walking those big toes together to touch. Those heels can be just slightly separated. Inhale, we're gonna rise to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. Then exhale, sink those hips down into that chair. So sit those hips nice and low. Relax those shoulders down. But now bring those hands to heart center. We're gonna twist it over to that right side. So this left tricep is gonna hook across that right knee. Now, make sure those knees are staying side by side. Drop those hips, lift through that chest. So the back is nice and flat. And see if you can find a little bit more twist. If you want to extend one arm out or even both arms out, you can get a little bit more twist. Good, now bring it to center. We'll go to the other side, hooking that right tricep across that left knee. Lower those hips a tiny bit, lifting that chest off so we don't want that belly collapsing on that thigh. Good, bring it back to center and straighten those legs as we fold. Ooh, take a breath here. Inhale that half lift. Exhale, step or hop those feet back to our plank. Moving right into that vinyasa, lifting that chest on the inhale. And exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Bringing those feet together, we're gonna inhale that right leg up. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, curl it in, stepping that foot through. So we're gonna be in a lunge. So I'm gonna go a little bit narrow so you can see my feet, but once that back heel lifted, ideally you would have a really, really long lunge stance. I'm just limited by this screen in my feet. Inhaling those arms up, rib cage draws down as we big deep bend into that front knee. Big stretch to that back hip flexor. One more breath. And we'll bring those hands to heart center as we twist. So hooking left tricep across that right knee. But again, lifting that chest up. Twist a little bit more. Good, now we'll inhale those arms up. Spinning that back heel down as we come into a warrior two stance. So you might have to adjust those feet a little bit. We want that right heel intersecting the arch of that back foot. So big deep bend into that front knee. Now we don't want to roll inward into that arch of that left foot. Think about pressing into that back edge of the left foot. So the arches lift as we sink into that front knee. Draw that rib cage down. Reach through those fingers. Really strong through those arms. Strong through those legs. Sink a little bit deeper to that front knee. Good. Hold it here. Breathe. Gripping those toes. Heels. Balls the feet into the mat. Pulling towards the midline of the foot. Really lifting through those arches. Good. That strength starts with those feet and builds from there. One more breath. Now lower that forearm down as we reach that left arm up and over. Now if you want a little bit more challenge, reach that right hand forward. So those arms parallel to each other. Bend that front knee a little more. Okay, now we're gonna release it, straighten that front leg. Flipping that palm, reach it up and back. Good, now reach out those arms, bend into that knee as we circle that left arm up and over again. Arms are parallel, keeping that chest nice and open. Bend into that front knee. See how close you can get this side body to that thigh. Inhale, release it, rise up, straighten that leg, reach it up and back. One more time, tee out those arms, bend into that knee. Warrior two, and then we'll come into extended side angle, but again, keeping that right arm lifted for that little extra challenge. And inhale, rise back up. We're gonna bring those feet, I'll face you to that, or toes out to face the long edges of the mat. You'll lunge into, so I'm mirroring you guys, your left knee first. Chest is up. Cool. Squeeze. Let's begin. You want to keep, you can barely see it, but keeping that left heel on the ground. You can pull the right toes up. Maybe bring those hands to heart center. You can bring those hands over to, or bring your body over to the other side. So again, we'll keep that right heel down. Chest is up, nice flat back. One more breath. Bring it back to center, turning those toes in. Nice flat back on that inhale. And exhale, we'll fold. Inhale that flat back. And then walk those hands back to the front. Send that leg back, so it's going to be your right leg. If you want a little challenge, keep that leg lifted as we lower. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up. Downward facing dog. Let's go to the other side. Inhaling that left leg up. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Inhale it back up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, curl it in. Stepping that foot through. So we're going to be in that high lunge or crescent lunge. We reach those arms up overhead. Back heel is lifted. Rib cage pulls down. Okay. So you don't want this huge arch in that back. We want to try and flatten this out as much as possible and then sink into that front knee. Okay, just feeling that nice big stretch in that right hip flexor, reaching those arms up and back. But now we'll bring those hands to heart center, bring that chest forward, and then we're going to hook this right tricep across this left thigh. So again, not collapsing. We want to lift through that chest, strong through that back leg as we twist the feet over that elbow. One more breath. And then we'll bring it back up to our crescent lunge. Back heel spins down. So again, feet are perpendicular to each other. We want this left heel intersecting the arch of that back foot. Okay, bend into that knee. Reach those arms out long. Let's hold it here for a couple breaths. Okay, so again, gripping with those feet. Pulling towards the midline of the foot. Lifting through those arches. So we're really strong through our thighs. Okay, really flexing this back quad. Pressing this left knee out so we can see that big toe right inside that knee. The rib cage is down nice and tall through that torso. Gazing out towards that left hand. Good, now we'll lower that left forearm down as we reach that right arm up and over. Good, if you want, excuse me, that challenge for reaching that left arm forward. Keeping that chest open. And inhale, we'll rise back up. Straighten that front leg. Flip that palm. Reach it up and back. Good. Reaching out those arms. Bend into that knee. Warrior two. And then we'll extend that right arm forward. Inhale, rise back up. Reverse it. Again, that front leg can straighten out. So reverse triangle. Rebend into that knee. Left. Of hovering, extended side angle, reaching that right arm forward, open up through that chest. A lot of core work here. We're finding that stretch. We're also building that strength. Good, then we'll bring it back up. We're going to turn those toes out as we face that long edge of the mat. And then we'll come right over to, I'm on the same side as you guys. So onto that right side. Chest is up. You can bring those hands to heart center, make it a little bit more challenge. You know, we'll bring it to center, and then we'll go over to that left side. So we can keep this heel down. You get a little bit more stretch in that ankle if you have really tight calves or maybe some issues with ankle mobility. One more breath. Back here to center. Bring those toes to turn in just slightly. So again, our outside edges of the feet are nice and straight. Flat back on that inhale. And exhale, fold. Walk those hands back. Let that head hang heavy. Feeling that stretch through those hamstrings, and you can keep those knees bent to flatten out that back a little bit more. Now, if we notice the weight of the feet, we don't want the weight all the way back into the heels. We don't want it all the way in our toes. We want it just nice and evenly distributed. If you want to give it a little rock forward and back, you can do that too, but just keep it real gentle, working towards, well, not overstretching. Good, now lengthen out, walking those hands back to the front, sending that leg back. Now, if you want to keep that leg lifted as we lower, inhale, lift, and exhale, hips up, downward facing dog. A couple breaths here in down dog. If you need a quick child's pose, that is always an option. Now inhale on those toes. Bend the knees, look forward, step or hop those feet, top of the mat. Inhaling that half lift. Exhale, fold. And now inhale, we're gonna rise to standing, reach it up nice and tall. Exhale, sink those hips down into our chair. Shoulders are softened down. Sit as low as you can. Now we're gonna bring those hands to heart center. We're gonna twist it over to that right side. So that left elbow is hooked across that right thigh. Okay, now look down towards those toes. Really gripping the right toes, that right foot into the mat. I don't know if you can see this, but we're gonna start to lift your left heel off the mat. Okay, so getting really light on the left toes, more weight into that right foot, keep that twist. Then we're gonna step it back into that twisted lunge. Hold, lift through that chest twist. Okay, now bring those feet back together and step it back. Try to hold that balance. Good, bring it back to center. Good, step it back. Good, and center. And step it back, hold it here, maybe extending out through that right arm. One more breath. Good, now bring it back to that lunge. Sink those hips down low. Good, and release it. Unwind and find that fold. Take a little wiggle if you can. Now we'll go to the other side. Inhale, we'll come up to standing. Sink those hips down into that chair. The rib cage is pulling down. Toes together, heels are slightly separated. Bringing those hands to heart center as we drop those hips as low as we can. Now we'll hook that right tricep across that left thigh. Keep that back nice and flat. Now we're gonna lift. Right heel up. Really gripping with those left toes, okay? So I would look down at the left big toe or maybe that top edge of the mat, so that still spot. Now, sending that right leg back into that lunge. Hold that twist. Good, bring it back to our chair. Good, now step it back to our lunge. Keeping that left leg strong, don't let that knee collapse in. Good, now step the feet to the lunge, or excuse me, to our chair. Now, back to the lunge and to our chair. Last time, step it back and hold. Now twist, look over that shoulder. If you want to extend that left arm out, you can. Maybe that right hand extends down towards the ground. And hold it, breathe, breathe, breathe. Good, now bring those hands back to heart center. Hold that twist as we step it back to our chair. Good, drop those hips down, big, big twist, hold, breathe. And we unwind. Straighten those legs. Big breath in. Whew. And exhale, sigh it out. Then you can even let those arms hang Heavy grabbing opposite elbows. And now plant those hands. Go and step or hop those feet back to our plank. Moving through that vinyasa. Then exhale. We can send those hips back to our child's pose. So you can bring those knees as wide as you would like. Arms are reaching forward. And soften that head down towards the ground. Now go ahead and come back to a downward facing dog. So just sending those hips up to the sky, that nice inverted V shape. You're gonna send that right foot outside that right hand. Back knee lowers down, pressing those hips forward. Now again, we're gonna twist, reaching that right arm up. Exhale, lower that hand down. Straighten that front leg, pull those toes back. Looking through that chest. Flatten out that back, and then you can fold over that right leg. Good, now rebend into that front knee, coming back to that lizard lunge. Twisting, reaching that arm up, and then we can start to bend into that back knee, maybe reaching for that big pinky toe side of the foot. Rib cage stays down as we gaze over that shoulder. And gently pressing that foot into the hand. And then as you soften, relax, maybe you can pull that foot in a little bit closer. Breathing through this, especially if that quad's a little bit tighter. Now again, if you're feeling any pain through the knee, just go ahead. Well, first off, make sure the knee is tracking right in line with the right glute. We don't want to be yanking that knee across either side. We want that knee tracking in that nice straight line. And then if you make that adjustment, it's still not feeling good, just go ahead and let that foot come down. Not worth being any unnecessary strain on those joints. Go ahead and release that foot down. Go ahead and lower down onto those forearms, or maybe you can put your elbows on a block, pulling that chest forward. Come back onto those hands. Then step that foot back to that down dog. And then we'll step that left foot outside that left hand. Back knee lowers down. And then we'll plant that right hand as we twist. Left arm reaches up. Now lower that hand down. Straighten that front leg. As you pull those toes back. Nice flat back. Folding, hinging from those hips. And now We bend into that knee. Again, plant that right hand down. Bend that back knee as we reach that arm back, grabbing onto that pinky toe side of that foot. And make sure that heel is tracking right towards the middle of your right butt cheek. So you can gently press that foot into the hand. Press, press, press. And then as you release, maybe you can pull that knee in a little bit more. Another thing you might notice if you're feeling pain, like especially in the kneecap, if your knee is if your hip is stacked right over the knee and you're straight on the kneecap, it's going to be a lot more painful too. You want to try and work towards pressing the hips forward. So my weight is on more my quad and not really on my knee at all. So I'm not feeling a ton of pressure on the knee from the ground. Stay here a couple more breaths. Release that foot. You can lower down onto those forearms. Moving that chest forward, flattening out that back. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, lost boys like me. You sprinkled me in pixie dust and told me to believe in him and believe. Together we will fly away in a cloud of green to your beautiful destiny. As we soar above the town that never loved me, I realized I finally had a family. Soon enough we reach Neverland, peacefully my forgiveness and ever since that day. I am lost from Neverland, usually hanging out to get back. But what we played was come back onto those hands and send it back to that downward facing dog. Another breath here. And then go ahead and make your way through to a seat. We're going to extend those legs forward so we can squeeze those legs together, reaching those arms out. And then we're going to roll it down one vertebrae at a time. Nice, slow and controlled. And then we'll reach those arms up overhead. Full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down through those toes. And now we'll hug that right knee into that chest. And with that left hand, guide that knee across as that right arm reaches out. And then bring that knee back to center. Let's switch sides, hugging that left knee in, right leg extends out. And then that right hand just guides that knee across. Left arm just reaches out as we relax into that twist. And then bring that knee back to center. Go and hug both knees into your chest. And as we round that spine, bring that forehead to the knees. And we'll extend those legs out, reaching those arms overhead, full body stretch, fingertips all the way down through those toes. Big breath, inhale. And exhale, we'll bring those arms down by the sides. Palms will face up. Sighing out that breath. Letting yourself completely relax. Yourself feel really heavy into the mat. Letting yourself rest here, just being in this calm, relaxed, quiet space. Begin to deepen your breath. Just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Keep reaching your arms overhead, that full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down through those toes. And drawing your knees into the chest as you gently roll over onto that right side, right arm. Support your head. Pause here for a few breaths. Make your way up into that seat, sitting tall. Eyes remain closed. Taking a really big breath in through the nose. Exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out. And now inhale those arms up overhead. Palms will meet as we exhale those hands to heart center. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 7 a.m.